Jason Swain, touchdown.
It's time. It's time. It's Swain Event time.
My man.
It is time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. This is real sports talk for the real sports fan. Talk to him, Swain.
Give me 2 laps and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant. Ben McKee, Go Bonds 247 in Hoover, Alabama. I am Jason Swain, here in the Low T Center studio. We thank you for making the Swain Event part of your morning or any part of your day. We love for you to subscribe to the podcast. We love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We thank you if you've already done that. You've been rocking with us for a long time. You know how this goes this morning. You look good, Ben.
Thanks.
Good, man. It's good. It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
How was the drive down there? They fixed the
It was
highway yet?
easy.
No, how was the drive from Tennessee down to Hoover, man? They fixed the highway, I59 yet?
No, they're still doing construction on the same parts of the highway that I think that they've been doing construction to for the last decade. If not 2 decades. I think somehow they're going slower. What is that, 59?
Yeah, 59, yep.
I think they're slower on 59 than they are Alcoa Highway, and that's saying something.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Dude.
I mean, there were like at least three parts of 59 to where it cuts down to 1 lane because they're doing construction.
That sounds about right. I got a second opinion on my knee, so I went down to UAB. This was 2005. There was construction going on, the same construction. 2005. So that tell you all you need to know.
And it doesn't look like it's gotten any closer to being done.
I think they just gave up. I tell you who didn't give up. Them Tennessee Vols, man. Them Tennessee Vols didn't give up. A disappointing finish to the regular season in terms of series wins inside of the SEC. But it's postseason time. And the Tennessee baseball team played like they know it's postseason time. A team that play like they're capable of playing. Of course, you have some of the infield errors that have been very, very frustrating. Makes you want to pull your hair out. But the bats was on fire. Lil Wayne used to have a song, Cash Money Millionaires. The block is hot. The block is hot. Hey, man, the bats were hot. The bats were hot last night, yesterday. I mean, where did that come from, Ben?
Well, they've been swinging the bats pretty well the last couple of weeks, starting with that Vanderbilt series. And it's funny that you mentioned Lil Wayne or reference Lil Wayne because yesterday's starting pitcher, Marcus Phillips, his walkout song, warm-up song is "Shh, the Fireman Coming" by Lil Wayne.
Throw that heat.
It gets the stadium going. It's a good one. Shh, the fireman coming, and then the sirens go off.
It's a great song for a pitcher.
It's a great song. Back when Lil Wayne was in his prime, and Marcus Phillips, he set the tone for the day. He looked really good those first 3 innings, 9 up, 9 down. Faced the minimum in those 3 innings, and like Rob Vaughn said, in his post-game press conference, the Alabama coach, he looked like a big leaguer for 3 innings. And that's why Marcus is going to be a top 50 pick here in 2 months, because me and my buddy were talking about this yesterday at the stadium. He's one that has a chance to be up there with the Garrett Crochets and the Chase Dolanders at the next level. Nobody's talking about it because he's not what those guys were in college. Yeah. But in terms of trajectory,
the ceiling is high.
The ceiling is as high as it gets.
He's a freak.
He's a freak. Yeah. I mean, he has the chance to be Liam Doyle at the next level, because I think we've kind of touched on this within the last couple of weeks, but it's just a lot of raw talent, because he's from a cold state out in the Northwest. It's a lot. It's a fresh arm, not a lot of innings on that arm, and he's already doing what he's doing. A team is going to fall in love with just how much untapped potential is in that arm and how fresh that arm is going to be. And I think, I know it sounds crazy right now, but I really think he has a chance to be Tennessee's best pitcher at the major league level. At least right there next. Garrett Crochet's arguably the best lefty in the sport right now. Oh, wait, behind Max Fried, who left the Atlanta Braves for the New York Yankees over the offseason and has been the best pitcher in baseball this season. So Garrett Crochet may be the second best lefty in the major leagues this year.
So petty.
So I know that sounds like an odd statement with what I'm saying about Marcus, but like Marcus truly does have the potential to be what Crochet is at the next level. Will it happen? I don't know, but a team's going to fall in love with him because of what you saw those first 3 innings, not those only 3 innings, but the untapped potential was on display there to start the game and kind of set the tone. And the bats were rocking from the jump. Score a run in the bottom of the first, bottom of the second, and then they scored 3 more in the bottom of the fourth. You're feeling good. 5-1 lead. And then chaos ensues. Marcus did run into trouble there in the 5th with, I believe it was a single, a walk, and a double to begin the 5th inning. Tony goes to Brandon Arvidsson. Arvidsson looks really good, getting the strikeout with the only batter he faces. Then you turn to A.J. Russell. Russell looks good right away. He did give up a walk to load the bases after getting a fly ball for the second out, getting Justin LeBron, one of the best players in the SEC, a future first-round pick and possibly the number 1 overall pick in next year's draft. Got him to fly out. And then the Dean Curley play happened. Very unfortunate, very tough. That leads to Alabama taking the lead. 2-run score on that play to make it a 1-run game, and then the next guy doubles in the gap off of Russell, and Alabama leads. And I don't know what you were thinking, Swain, but I was thinking, here we go again.
I was too.
Like, this team typically has not responded well to those situations, but they continued to fight yesterday, which was I thought was a great sign that they continued to fight, and they poured it on Alabama, and that was the most dominant 15-10 win I've ever seen in my life. That 9th inning does not do the score justice.
We was playing around.
The game justice. What's that?
We was playing with our food. We was playing around.
Yeah.
We
you had a freshman in there trying to knock off rust, coming back from an illness, a serious illness a couple of weeks ago, and first SEC tournament action. A.J. Russell had run out of gas at that point, so just kind of is what it is. But that I thought was really, really good to see, is the way the team continued to, when adversity struck, when Dean Curley made that error, instead of getting timid, they put the foot on the pedal even more, and that is a great sign going into the postseason.
It was an immediate response.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like, oh man,
they tied the game in the next inning.
Yeah, man, it was an immediate response. And then another thing that stood out to me about the game, Ben, is the start. The start was unlike starts we've seen in SEC play during the regular season, where Tennessee found themselves having to counter and having to respond from the other team starting fast, and Tennessee finding themselves down multiple runs and just not being able to do enough to win, especially those Sunday games. But that wasn't the case yesterday. I mean, Tennessee got up 2-0, and I think that confidence early helped these guys be able to bounce back. Once Alabama was able to make their run, Tennessee was able to respond, like you just said, the next inning, and then after that, it was smooth. I won't say smooth sailing, but the bats remained hot, and Tennessee continued to pour on runs. So, man, that was a fun game, man. That was a fun game. That's the Tennessee baseball team that we've been accustomed to seeing over the years, and hopefully it transfers to today, playing the other UT.
Big one today. If you win today, and you've got Liam Doyle going for you, Liam's going to pitch this afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern, on the SEC Network against number 1 Texas. If you can pull this one off, then you have a firm case to host a regional.
A regional?
Yeah.
Hold on. Is that what your good friend Kendall Rogers said?
Yeah, he did. He told me coming into the week he felt like Tennessee needed 2 to 3 wins, and I don't like Tennessee's already in the top 12. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but top 12 RPI. They've reached the number of conference wins that typically leads teams to hosting. Somebody told me, I don't know if this is true, but somebody told me that a team that has the resume that Tennessee has never not hosted.
Tennessee is 12th in RPI right now.
And if you beat number 1 Texas, then you might be in the top 10.
I mean, yeah,
So,
Alabama's slightly ahead of you, and their record is 41-16. Your record, Tennessee's record, is 42-15. Their previous RPI was 9. Now it's 11. Ours was 16. Now it's 12. And this updated from yesterday.
And like Alabama is one of the teams that Tennessee is going to head to head with. Why should Alabama host over Tennessee when the resumes are very similar?
Yeah.
And not only are they very similar, the most important part, Tennessee won the series in Tuscaloosa earlier this season, took 2 of 3, and they won yesterday. So why should, if it were to come down to those two teams, why should Alabama host over Tennessee? And I've heard that Alabama feels good about hosting. So, like, that would seem odd to me, but, yeah. I haven't seen any updated projections. Not that the projections are just 1,000% gospel and 1,000% going to happen, but guys like D1 Baseball have been doing this for a very, very, very long time, and they understand the process and how this works and what resumes typically don't host. So I'm curious to see. I would imagine that they have an updated bracket projection going into today at some point this morning. I'm curious to see where they list Tennessee. But again, somebody mentioned to me that a team of Tennessee's resume has never not hosted. Again, I did not fact check that myself, but if that is the case, then, and that's even before you even beat Texas potentially. So now the issue is Alabama did win a game in Hoover. They beat Missouri, although I don't think that they should get a ton of credit for that. You beat Missouri. Congratulations. And then Ole Miss beat Florida last night, and Ole Miss is another team that's on the hosting bubble as well. So Ole Miss will get an opportunity to continue playing baseball. So I feel like if you can, again, it's as simple as Tennessee kind of controls its own destiny. If you go out there and you handle business, and you had the pitching advantage today. I mean, you would have anyways because Liam Doyle is pitching, right?
Period.
But Texas is like, let's get back to the house. It seems like their starter today, Ethan Walker, 7 appearances this season, has pitched 6.2 innings.
Oh, they're not serious about winning.
So the offense and Swain, the offense really exploded yesterday. A season high, 20 hits. We've talked about situational hitting. All of their situational hitting numbers were really, really good. Hitting with runners and they weren't really, really good. They were great. Let me get to my box score here, and I'll read a couple of them off to you.
Hit
545 with 2 outs, 483 with runners on base, 450 with runners in scoring position. The leadoff hitter reached in 5 of 8 innings. They were 2 for 4, so they were 500 with a runner on third and less than 2 outs. They were 1 for 2 with the bases loaded. In advancement opportunities, when they had an opportunity to move a base runner over, they hit 576, and they had 33 opportunities. They were 19 for 33, and against left-handed pitching, they were 6 for 12. They hit 500. The only thing they didn't do well is pinch hit, 0 for 1. That's the only thing they didn't do well yesterday is they didn't get a hit in their one pinch hit appearance when Stone Lawless, the Alabama native, had a chance to bring the run rule into effect. So that offense, like, it looked really, really good yesterday. I think it took advantage of a poor Alabama pitching situation, which good offenses do. But it's an offense that it started to get going the last couple of weeks. Since the Vanderbilt series, this offense is clicking more and more. I think a big reason why Levi Clark looks like a totally different kid the last couple of weeks compared to the first half of SEC play when he couldn't hit a beach ball into the ocean.
Dang.
And he looks like Tennessee's best hitter behind the guys at the top, like behind Fisher and Inslee and Keelan. I mean, he looks just as dangerous as Bargo right now, and that totally changes the trajectory of this team. Reese Chapman had a nice day yesterday. The bottom of the lineup, the 6 through 9 hitters were phenomenal. I tweeted out the stats. They were like 10 for 17 yesterday. I mean, so my point is, like, you're walking into this situation today with Liam Doyle on the mound. Texas is throwing a guy that has barely pitched this season, and your offense has been clicking the last couple of weeks. The offense has not been the reason that you've lost the Vanderbilt series. The Arkansas series went down yesterday at one point midway through. The offense has been doing its job. So the offense should take advantage of this opportunity today. If it does, and you pair that with a strong bounce-back Liam Doyle outing, then it's hard not to envision Tennessee winning today, because I don't know that – I think Texas is going to have a bit of those vibes that Tennessee had last year of, like, they're going to play hard. They're going to show up and be ready to play. But in terms of putting their best foot forward, like, I think they would be perfectly content with going back to the house and getting a weekend of rest and gearing up for the NCAA tournament like Tennessee was last year. But Tennessee was just so good last year and so deep last year that they still managed to win the SEC tournament. So Tennessee's walking into a very advantageous situation, and there's people out there that think that if Tennessee can
win today, then
it'll be hosting NCAA tournament games in Knoxville next weekend.
Does it matter if Tennessee beats Texas and Texas is not putting their best foot forward? Does that matter, or is just the fact that Tennessee beat Texas?
Yes, Tennessee beat Texas.
All right, let's
it's kind of like Aaron Judge hit a home run that barely got over the wall. I mean, it was a Yankee Stadium special. Aaron Judge hit a home run earlier this week. It was I believe it was the shortest home run of his career. And they asked him about it after the game, and he said it counts the same as my longest home run of my career. And that's kind of what this is. Like, this win, it counts the same as the Alabama win or the Ole Miss series win. It's just the committee is not sorting through who was pitching for Texas. They're just Tennessee beat Texas. That's another win for Tennessee. That's all they're looking for. What's hurting Tennessee is the fact that they lost 6 out of the last 7 series. Like it's such an odd case because they have all the numbers you need to host, all the metrics, the RPI, the conference wins and overall wins and strength of schedule and things of that. They check every box, but then there's the part of the eye test that plays a role that tells the committee that Tennessee lost 5 straight series to end the regular season and 6 out of their last 7. That's the bugaboo for Tennessee that it can't correct this weekend other than just going out and winning today and maybe even winning on Saturday.
Going to the Beatty Chevrolet text box, our telephone number is 865-255-03, the Garza Law hotline. Again, 865-255-03. But Brian Hunsucker on the Beatty Chevrolet text box says, Ben, despite hitting only 1 home run, there were a lot of piss missiles yesterday. And, man, that's something that Chris Burke talked about is we were getting a hold of balls, even though they might have been outs, that the contact was strong. And so,
you hit 3 doubles. That's always a good sign. That's what you look for in
that park.
Hoover, in Omaha. It's striking the ball and hitting it well to the gaps because it is harder to run a ball out of that stadium. Levi Clark, one of his only outs of the day was a ball he hit 417 feet that the Alabama center fielder made a terrific catch up against the wall on the warning track. So they were, only 1 home run, but 3 doubles, smoked several balls right at people. The offense looks really good. It has the last couple of weeks, and it's been overshadowed by other critical errors. But the offense, it's humming right now. And you're not going to be facing SEC pitching next weekend. Now, you may get sent to a Florida State, and Florida State basically has SEC pitching. So we'll see where they end up going if they end up traveling. But more likely than not, you're not going to be facing any of these pitching staffs that Vanderbilt had, that Arkansas had, that you hit well against. So that there's a lot of reason for optimism there.
Vol fan says the bottom of the lineup has really put it together offensively. There was a long stretch where teams were only worried about a couple of our hitters. Those hitters would get on base, but no one can bring them home. The past few weeks, the entire lineup has come through and seems to be in a groove. We aren't leaving as many runners on base. Players weren't trying to hit the ball out of the park. They were just trying to put together a great at-bat after great at-bat, and it paid off. I know Tennessee fans want to really host, but it feels like this team played so much better on the road this year. If we don't host a regional, I still think we will be fine.
And I think that's the proper way to look at it quickly, Swain, because that's a big conversation with Tennessee baseball fans right now is, does this team actually want to host? Yes, they absolutely want to host. You want your home field environment. I think it'll be a much different home field environment than Tennessee has gotten this season because all the people who pay for the big ticket seats right behind home plate that don't show up during the regular season, and the TV shows how empty they are, just like what happens in football and over at Neyland on behind the team bench. And then basketball season, we had that conversation as well. The big ticket seats that don't show up throughout the regular season, they're filled in the postseason. So I think you'll get a totally different vibe inside of Lindsey Nelson. I also think that I think yesterday's win was good for a lot of people's mojo. There's the Dean Curley stuff, and we can touch on that. But aside from the Dean Curley error, yesterday felt pretty good if you're a Tennessee baseball fan, didn't it? I mean, when's the last time I guess you felt that way when Marcus won in Arkansas last weekend, when Liam beat Vanderbilt. So you've had glimpses of it, but they haven't been able to build off of a win since the Ole Miss series.
Yeah, Tennessee beating, LSU, there too.
Right. Yeah. So you've had pieces of it. I also think that the whole they have played better on the road. I agree with that notion. I don't think it's a big enough difference to where you would prefer to play on the road. So I think Volfan hit the nail on the head with the way that they described it is like, okay, yeah, it'd be disappointing if they don't host a regional. Playoff baseball and Lindsey Nelson is the absolute best. It'd be a lot of fun. It's still an advantage, even if they've struggled a bit at home this season
Home is
to
home.
play in that environment. It's your place,
Yeah.
your people rooting for you. But like Volfan said, would not at all be the that there would be confidence in also going on the road.
Yeah, home is home, and plus you're not playing against SEC talent at home. Now you mentioned the fact that you're not going to go up against SEC pitchers, at a regional, super regional, unless you go to Florida State. Well, we could say the same thing about playing at home. You're not going to see SEC talent, so you should feel good about being at home. 865-255-03. I applaud DZ and his take. Not necessarily because I 100% agree with it, but I applaud DZ putting his fandom to the side and saying what he thinks is right. DZ in Milwaukee. Long time no speak, brethren. Just wanted to say, as much as we all love Zakai, go get a G League or Euro spot and make us proud. We all got to move on sometimes. Zakai Ziggler has sued the NCAA and will file a lawsuit, we'll say it that way, seeking a 5th year of eligibility. The lawsuit alleges that the NCAA's rule permitting only 4 seasons of competition within the 5-year eligibility window is unlawful, restraint of trade under federal and antitrust laws inside of the state. Zakai's representation said we have requested a preliminary injunction to allow Zakai to compete in the upcoming season while pursuing his graduate studies, which, hey, that's important, Ben. Graduate studies. Here's my thing on this. I said it yesterday during Joshua Swain, talked about it for almost 3 hours. The NCAA has been talking about giving athletes 5 years to play 5. 5 years to play 5. This has been talked about for months and months and months. If the NCAA is going to do this, well, we're talking about it, why not allow Zakai to play? If this is something that you're going to do in the near future, why not let Zakai go ahead and get his 5 years? I am a supporter of 5 years to play 5. Instead of allowing dudes 6 years and 7 years, that's ridiculous. But you get 5 years to play 5. And that accounts for injury. That accounts for you needing that year to mature. That accounts for needing a redshirt year to physically develop where you need to be. Everybody's high school strength and conditioning programs are different. Some guys are more ready to play physically than others. 5 years to play 5. If you have no hiccups and you come in and you're mature and you're physically ready to play and you play from day one and you never get hurt, you have maximized that opportunity to perfection. And kudos to you. But rarely do you see guys come in and do that. It takes a little bit of time. There's adversity. Something happens. Not everyone comes in and plays day one and never get hurt and never misses a game. So I like the 5 year to play 5. If that's something that is going to be passed in the near future, then I say go ahead and let Zakai play. My only thing with this is, what does that mean for Jacoby Gillespie? What was he told during the recruiting process about playing the point guard position and filling Zakai's shoes and him taking over as the general of this team, the captain of this team? I remember when Josiah Jordan-James was about to leave and told Rick Barnes he was out, or didn't give Rick Barnes an indication of what he wanted to do. So Rick had to move on, and that's what Rick did. And then was when Josiah wanted to come back, he was going to have to walk on. But then a spot opened up for him because you had old boy that committed and then changed his mind and went to St. John's, and that didn't work out.
Chris Ledlam.
Ledlam, yeah. And then it worked out for Josiah to be on scholarship. What you know about the Jacoby Gillespie recruitment, was there any possibility of Zakai coming back and playing? We know Meshack, no, he's moving on, but what about Zakai?
Not that I heard. I mean, Jacoby told me when I talked to him on the phone when he committed, one of the selling points, I mean, we know what it is, right? Like, Jacoby's getting a nice check, and he's coming back home. Like, he grew up a Tennessee fan. He told me that he told his dad during middle school camp that, like, I'm going to play in this arena one day. So, like, that was the big part of Jacoby Gillespie transferring from Maryland to Tennessee, is coming back home. Family and friends can come watch him play. He dreamed of playing in that arena growing up. But there's obviously the basketball side to it as well, the business side, both financially and from a basketball standpoint. And part of the business side of it was, and he flat out said this, was that Rick Barnes told me that he was going to give me the keys. It was my show. I'm the point guard. I'm getting the keys, and I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it was, is that Rick Barnes is turning the keys over to me. That's what he told me on the phone when he committed. So that to me tells me that no, there was no possibility of, or at least in his mind, he didn't think that there was a possibility of Zakai being a part of this team, like you saw Josiah Jordan-James 2 seasons ago kind of come out of nowhere with his decision. I think that this one was even less likely. I still think it's less likely. I don't think that the judge is going to rule in Zakai's favor. It feels like a shot in the dark to me. I just don't see this being ruled in anybody's favor until the house settlement goes into effect and until we know whether these young men are going, and women are going to have 5 years to play 5. I think that's what's hurting Alberto Osuna, because, like, yeah, Diego Pavia benefited, but now we talked about this at the time. I think judges are starting to wonder if they got the Pavia thing right to begin with.
Yeah.
So now others are being slow to rule until a more defined law or ruling comes into play in the wake of the house settlement. And technically the Diego Pavia case is still ongoing, or at least the eligibility rules involved. So I think it's a shot in the dark. And like, I totally agree with everybody saying, like, it's time to move on in life. Like, I agree with that.
There's a lot of people saying that. Was Zakai?
I don't know if they're saying that publicly, but I think we're all thinking it.
I mean,
I think a lot of us, if you put your fandom to the side, are thinking the same thing DZ said.
I mean, there may be some that feel that way. It may be a lot. I don't necessarily feel that way, because we're talking about 5 years. We're talking about a 5th year. We're not talking about a 6th or 7th year. We're talking about a 5th year.
The thing is, he's attacking the redshirt rule, right? The redshirt rule is a good rule, because it has afforded like I want to see them go to the 5-5 thing, but that doesn't mean that the redshirt rule has been a bad rule. The redshirt rule,
it's a great rule.
Yeah. And so, like, are you going to win a case when you're attacking a great rule when that rule is still in place? Like, yes, you might be going to the 5-5, but you're not yet. So, but the point that I was going to say, like, even to the people who are like Deezy and saying that, like, there comes a point in time in life where it's time to move on to the next chapter. I hear that. But if you're Zakai and you know how much money you can make at Tennessee next year compared to a G League, Zakai's not making money in the G League.
He's not
money anywhere near the money he would make at Tennessee in another year. So, like, I understand where Zakai is coming from. Like, I make significantly more money coming back to Tennessee than finding something in the G League or professionally overseas. So it makes sense why they're doing this, because it's from a pure financial standpoint. I'm sure Zakai would love to play another season of Tennessee basketball. Don't get me wrong, but there's a reason they're arguing that the financial differences in how much money Zakai would lose out on by not getting a fifth year at Tennessee.
Listen, we all would probably do the same thing that Zakai's doing here. I mean, the market says that a player of Zakai's caliber is worth over $3 million. I mean, you see articles that talk about, Spider Sports Group and what they project a player like Zakai's market would be between $2 and $4 million. Well, we just saw multiple guards this season transfer and go to places who did not make All-American, did not be a two-time defensive conference of the year player in a league that was the best in the country. Like, we're seeing players getting $3 million, not as good as Zakai. Now, Tennessee basketball has not been in the overpaying business. We have got guys. We continue to do that with getting players that could have made more somewhere else. So, would Zakai get $3 million if he came back to Tennessee? I don't know that. I mean, but we would do the same thing if you had an opportunity to make $2 to $4 million to play another year. The fact that the NCAA were already kicking this can down the road with the 5 years to play 5 makes me feel like he has a chance, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets denied. And like, I wouldn't be crushed by it, because I want to see Jacoby Gillespie have his moment.
Well, and it also, there was a look. Sign me up for another year Zakai Ziggler all day long.
All day, yeah, for sure.
But we also had some closure. We had closure on that chapter of Tennessee basketball coming to an end with senior day, his emotions after the Elite Eight loss to Houston. This comes out 24. What?
So what about closure? Folky kissed the floor and came back the next year. I was thrilled.
I was thrilled too, but it still felt weird.
I don't mind feeling weird.
I mean, and this comes out after a documentary, like, of kind of, it felt like putting a bow on his career. And look, again, like, if it can happen, it can happen, and you sign up for it all day long. But it's
weird.
It's just all weird. I think my point was, I think everybody was moving on to the next phase, and now this is dropped on them. We'll see how it plays out.
I want to hear from Rick Barnes. Like, I want to know what Rick Barnes feels. I want to know if Rick Barnes is okay with Zakai coming back. Was Rick Barnes tipped off to Zakai proceeding with this angle? And I want to know what Rick Barnes is saying to Jacoby Gillespie today or yesterday.
They do have one roster spot left open.
Like, that's what I want to know. That's what I want to know, man.
That's a good thought.
I want to know those questions. The answers to those questions. That's what I want to know. All right. SEC baseball today against Texas. Zakai Ziggler trying to get another year. Tennessee football picked up a commitment, an in-state commitment. Potential game changer? Tennessee football recruiting up next here in the Swain Event.
Good morning, Swain Event family. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. Summertime is almost here and there's always a lot going on. Trying to fit in a vacation, summer sports, camps, all while trying to buy or sell a home can be overwhelming. If a move is part of your summer plans, let me help you take some of that stress away so you can have a little fun with your family. Just give me a call at 865-694-5904 or reach out on my website, nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols!
When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go. Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Fellas, let's talk about getting back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feeling moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. You need to know your T levels, so get tested. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, and you'll find true experts at Low T Center. But guys are not all the same, so don't settle for a standard dosage TRT program. Learn about the personalized treatment at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 referral credit when you refer a new patient. So go to lowtcenter.com to book an appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Just because you can't call in, it doesn't mean that you have to sit on the sideline. Impact the show with a text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
Swain Event fueled by Dead End Barbecue. They was asking about you, man. Where's Ben? I ain't seen Ben in a minute. They was asking about you up there yesterday, Ben. Where's Ben, man? We've been missing Ben.
I need to swing by.
Yeah, we gotta do that, man. Little team building exercise. Dead End Barbecue. Little Swain Event team building. Tennessee built their team for the future, securing a commitment from in-state player, addressing a position that it seems like it's on autopilot when it comes to recruitment, when it comes to the development, when it comes to the production, and players going to the next level and succeeding. And that's right there on the Tennessee defensive line. Tennessee gets a commitment from Zack Rose right here inside of the state of Tennessee, 4-star edge player. And he was called a game wrecker by his high school coach. Chose Tennessee over Georgia, Clemson, USC, Ole Miss, had over 20 other scholarship offers. I got time for that, Ben.
Yeah, you take an athletic edge rusher all day long. And Tennessee really, really had to swat away Ole Miss there at the end, right before his announcement. Ole Miss made a strong run at him.
What does that mean?
But
what does a strong run mean today?
Tennessee was able to get the job done for a very talented, athletic edge rusher from the mid-state. A bit of a raw prospect, but just great explosiveness off the line. A lot of talk about just being able to consistently win at the point of attack, and just a freak athlete. And sign me up for a freak athlete at that position. How many of the best edge rushers in the NFL, college, are just simply freak athletes? I mean, that's what it boils down to in a lot of cases in terms of what separates the best at that position from the rest. And Zack Rose certainly checks the athletic box on the scouting report.
You know who he reminds me of? Because you mentioned, the athleticism and, him being, maybe a little bit raw. He reminds me of a former Tennessee edge rusher that went on and played in the league, still playing in the league, was one of Tennessee's, best edge players when he was here. Came in at like 210, 215 pounds from Hopewell, Virginia. Darrell Taylor. High school, was returning punts, playing receiver, tight end, was doing it all. But came in a little undersized, but just continued to develop, grow, and then boom. Now, Zack Rose is 252 pounds according to 247. But you mentioned him being a little bit raw but athletic. And 252, there's some weight that can be gained there and gain some good weight. But again, Chop, Rodney Garner continues to be a dynamic duo for Tennessee when it comes to the recruiting trail and production at that position.
That's we say it all the time, that they could sign an unranked guy from Wyoming and I'd be like, okay, sure, whatever you think's best.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the one position that they could get a commit, sign a player, and have full faith in, regardless of what the rankings say.
No one's gonna
Rodney
say anything.
Garner, and no, not at all. I really like that Darrell Taylor comparison. That's a good one.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. I don't know if people are gonna like this. They should like it. They should love it. But it may be a small group of people that, even though they're Tennessee fans, they may not like it, because they still have strong feelings about what Tennessee should be wearing and who they should be partnered with from an apparel standpoint. But Tennessee's Danny White wins Sports Business Journal's Athletic Director of the Year award. Y'all, remember the times when we had to bring in somebody from Alabama to be our athletic director? Remember the times when the football coach and the athletic director had to be removed? Remember the times during the coaching search when the athletic director went rogue and was trying to think about his next job instead of doing his job for the school that was employing him and finding a football coach? Think about those times. And think about a couple of years ago when Danny White was hired, when he made the statement, hey man, why so negative? If you gotta be negative, text a buddy. You remember that reaction, Ben? How dare he say just be positive? Does he not know what has happened? Yeah, we know. But to have positive results, it starts in your mind first. It starts in your mind first. And the culture, getting the right people in place. And I know this is a Danny White award, but it really is a Tennessee Athletic Program award for the team that Danny White has with him. The vision, leadership, Donnie Plowman and Randy Boyd. Like, it's a University of Tennessee award. Not even just the athletic department award. This is because Danny White's not able to do his job the way he's doing it if he doesn't have support from people above him. Now, he's done a good job in hiring the right people.
And that's what I was about to say. Not only above him, but the people around him. Like, Danny rightfully gets a lot of praise, but for as good as Danny White is individually, his staff around him is just as good as a staff as he is individually. You talked about Alicia Longworth last week and the work she's done coming over from Florida. She's phenomenal.
Rockstar.
She's an awesome person. Has great ideas, executes the ideas. Everybody on campus loves her. Marcus Hilliard, obviously.
Hold on. Alicia might be the best recruiter on campus next to Tony Vitello.
Why do you say that?
I don't know if Mike Keith is here.
You would know. You're more privy to that angle than I am.
I don't know if Mike Keith is here. Alicia was very, very important in bringing Mike Keith home. Very important.
Alicia's awesome. If you have one conversation with her and you see why everybody loves her on campus.
Okay, go ahead.
She's terrific. It's just people like Alicia, and we've talked about Marcus before. We're obviously very familiar with Marcus, Coach Cutcliffe's son, and there's so many other people in the athletic department that I probably should not have even started naming names because I'm not naming them all, but the Ryan Alperts of the world and so many over there.
You might as well go ahead and name them now since you just started.
No, because I won't name them all, but the staff is top notch. Like we have conversations about the football coaching staff, and if it's up to par, there's no questions about Danny White's staff, and if it's up to par, it's the standard, quite frankly.
No, it really is, man. It really is. It really is. So,
but you're spot on too. Like Randy Boyd and the administration above Danny, as Donnie Plowman, has played a critical role in helping Danny get this athletic department off the mat when they took over from the Pruitt situation and other small fires here and there, and they've got a big challenge coming up. I'm fascinated to see what takes place with Tennessee athletics in the revenue sharing world, because not everybody's going to get the piece of the pie that they want to get in this new model. And how does Tennessee overcome that and still make sure that the non-football sports are still taken care of to where they can compete with other programs across the country that are going to be given better resources? How do you supplement that revenue sharing difference is going to be key. You know, a great apparel deal would be a great way to do so. But, you know, if the logo on the jersey is ugly, why go get double-digit $1 million per year when you're only making $1 million per year? Why go do that to help supplement that income? It still baffles me how everybody's so caught up on just the logo on the jersey. That's not why they're making the move. Correct. They're not making the move because of the logo on the jersey. They're making the move because the deal theoretically is going to get them a lot more money to give to their athletes. Why is this such a hard concept to understand?
Hey, Ben, I know we did a recap on Tuesday. We're not gonna go there like that today, but here's my new favorite. Let's post some screenshots of a couple players not wanting to switch to Adidas, and that'll drive the point home further. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When I was a young player, there's a lot of things I didn't know that was for my own good. When I was a young child, there's a lot of things I didn't know that was for my own good. And hey, these players might have experienced Adidas, in high school. But I can promise you right now, your high school didn't have an Adidas rep assigned to your high school. Like Tennessee had an Adidas rep that basically lived here solely to service Tennessee in all things. And so you have opportunity to save sports, like save different sports on campus outside of your major ones. You also have opportunity to take some of that money that you would get and dedicate it solely to NIL. And so it's baffling to me that folks have now created a new angle, and I don't want to disrespect any players, but don't be showing me no freshmen that ain't done anything yet.
Yes.
Nobody care what they think. They ain't done nothing yet.
And like we said on Tuesday, with the more money that they will theoretically get, they will suck it up.
Yeah. Here's the extra $25,000.
They're not. Yes, they're not
now.
leaving because Tennessee's changing to Adidas. Nick Moore, Caleb Beasley, this, that, and the other. They're not leaving because Tennessee is switching to Adidas. And if they do leave because they're switching apparel companies, bye, Felicia.
Bye. That would be the dumbest reason to make a decision.
Would you rather see Tennessee in Nike uniforms, or would you rather see athletes getting more money, which means Tennessee is getting better recruits? Which one? Would you rather Tennessee get better recruits?
Better recruits is the answer.
Or would you rather see them wear cooler jerseys?
Better recruits.
Adidas, I don't like Adidas either. I don't buy Adidas. I still won't buy Adidas. I don't want to see Tennessee in Adidas.
No.
But paying athletes more money is more important.
Neil Mafia, day 4 of praying, they actually kick us out of the SEC. They're not doing that.
Neil Mafia wants it.
They're not doing that. Neil Mafia thinks that we can be Notre Dame, and we should be Notre Dame, and be independent.
What brand is Notre Dame?
What are they?
Under Armour.
Yeah. And Auburn is losing Under Armour, but Under Armour has
Jordan.
They're
going to Jordan.
Auburn's going to Jordan or Nike?
I thought it was Jordan. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw where they was going to Nike, but
I know there was Jordan talks at one point. All Ben did not follow up on that one though.
Yeah. So they're going to Nike. This is their last year with Under Armour.
Hey, y'all gonna love Faison Brandon in these Adidas commercials, like DJ Uiagalelei in these Dr. Pepper commercials. Y'all gonna love these Faison Brandon Adidas commercials.
Yeah. Brian Hunsucker, I was surprised and confused by Zack Rose's commitment. It just felt weird. Does he not know that Tennessee is switching to Adidas? Apparently, he didn't catch the memo.
He didn't catch word on the social media. He didn't see some random college football fan page post about Tennessee switching to Adidas. He didn't get the memo.
Yeah, I guess he did not get the memo.
I guess Gabriel Osenda, a.k.a. Big Squish. He hasn't gotten the memo either since he has not backed off of his commitment. Faison Brandon, very happy on social media yesterday when Zack Rose committed. I guess the talk about Adidas hasn't scared him off as well.
This is where you got it. This is... And I don't know who all said what they said about Adidas on a team. But you sometimes it's best to think before you push send. Because it's not about now. It's about what could be in the future. For instance, I'm a young player. I wore Nike in high school. I wear Nike all the time. I prefer Nike. I'm wearing Nike right now. I got social media. I put out something that I don't want Adidas. Let's say the next 2-3 years, you start balling out. Let's say you ball out this year or next year. You ball out. And there's an opportunity for you to sign a personal, individual apparel deal with a company. It would be so easy for you to sign with Adidas if Tennessee goes to Adidas. But you have made it tougher on yourself because of what you just said. Or let's say it's time for you to go to the league. And you're thinking about apparel deals. Just like Alvin Kamara, who was Nike at Alabama, Nike at Tennessee, but signed with Adidas. The reason why I did that because it was a better deal for him. But anyways.
Interesting how that works.
Yeah. But like imagine they pull up old tweets and old posts from you trashing them when they try to give you an extra bag. Like they try to give you more money. Whereas another apparel deal is trying to pay you as less as possible because they know they can. So, as a young player, you got to think sometimes before you just start saying stuff. Because if I would have tweeted what I thought about Adidas as a freshman or a sophomore, I would have probably said the same things to these guys. But I'm glad I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't have Twitter. Because I could have ruined my own opportunities to partner with a great apparel company and make more money. So that's why I looked at the post. I was like shaking my head, like, dang, man. I mean, you can have that opinion, but don't do that, bro. What if Adidas wants to make you the top dog? What if Adidas wants you? What if they want to give you $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 with a personalized deal on top of the school's apparel deal? But no, you didn't mess it up for yourself because you're here running your mouth on social media. That's what I was thinking. 865-255-03 is our telephone number to the Guards of Law hotline. Camden, Tennessee Vol says, loves ZZ, one of the best all-time at Tennessee. He has back-to-back poor performances on Elite 8 games, though. I prefer Gainey for next year's roster. So Tennessee Vol, Camden, Tennessee Vol, prefers Jordan Gainey over Zakai Ziggler for next year's roster.
Gainey plays the position that this team needs, but Zakai's the better player. But you also have here, just generally speaking, please don't take me too literal when I say this, but you kind of already have a Zakai on the roster in Jacoby Gillespie. You have one of the best point guards in the country already. So, like, from a positional need standpoint, like, I don't think Camden, Tennessee Vol is wrong. You need Jordan Gainey's position more than you need Zakai, but Zakai's the better player. So I think I'd still take Zakai because you take the better player. And if a miracle happened, then you just hope that Zakai and Jacoby can find a way to coexist.
Jordan Gainey in postseason play. 9 points versus Texas in the semifinal. 15 points against Auburn. 24 points against Florida in the SEC championship game. 7 points against Wofford. Only took 5 shots. Didn't have to take a lot of shots. 13 points versus UCLA. 4 for 10. 50% from 3 out of 6. 16 points versus Kentucky. 50% from the field. 1 out of 4 from 3. 17 points versus Houston. 40% from 3, 2 out of 5. 50% from the field. 6 out of 12. I mean, Jordan Gainey this postseason was on it. He was on it now. He was a better player. But I think you nailed it. Like, this team needs the position that Jordan Gainey plays more than they need a point guard. And again, it goes back to, for me, what did Rick Barnes and Jacoby Gillespie talk about as far as expectations of him playing the point guard position? All right, let's go to the Guards Law Hotline, 865-255-03. Good morning.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
What's up, Turkey Man?
Hey, buddy. I was just curious if Zakai gets that appeal.
Zakai.
Okay. He gets the appeal, and he gets a 5th year. He doesn't have to come to Tennessee, does he?
He doesn't have to. But where's he gonna make?
I don't know that. I'm just saying, as a fan, I want him to come to Tennessee, but as a fan, I don't want him going to our competitor either. So, he's doing it because he wants more money and he wants another year in college to play ball, and so, but he doesn't have to come to Tennessee if he wins it.
He doesn't have to, but I don't see him going anywhere else, Turkey Man, because man, his family lives here. But
I understand that.
money is money, right? And if you,
but to Turkey Man's
that's my point.
But to Turkey Man's point, Swaino, Tennessee paid a lot to Nate Ament. Does Tennessee have the money to pay Zakai what he's arguing he can make in court? Can Tennessee basketball drum up more money to pay what they're talking about he could make in court?
I don't think Zakai does this unless he knows he can make money here.
I would hope so.
Well, on the point right there, before I leave there, I know if we made a deal with, I'm hearing Nike that they have the money for him to come. If they had a deal like that, they wouldn't.
Turkey Man, what?
I mean, I meant Adidas. I said Nike, didn't I? If they had the money that Adidas is proposing, then I think they would have the money to pay a player like that.
Well, Adidas, even if Tennessee decides to go with Adidas, that deal wouldn't take place until next football season, anyways. So
I'm just pointing out, hindsight's 20/20. I'm just pointing out you don't know what you'd run into later down the road.
No, I mean,
in this situation here, if it happened when you're talking about it, money with Nike is not happening, but with Adidas, with what I'm hearing, it's possible. Just what I'm saying.
anything is possible. All right, take it, man. Much love.
Hey, buddy. Hey, I'll see you guys. And what time's the game today?
What's that?
Is it today?
4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central.
Okay. And it's Texas, right?
That's right.
4 Eastern. Texas, 4 Eastern, SEC Network.
Be there, be square,
Well,
Turkey Man.
All right. I just I know we can't make errors and win games continuously because they add up in the scoreboard. Talk to you later.
All right, Turkey Man. See you. The team that makes few mistakes will win.
You hit the nail on the head. You cannot make errors and win baseball games.
You cannot lose the game and still win.
No, but I knew what he meant. What was your thoughts on Tony's comments about Dean Curley after the game yesterday? After Dean made a critical error there in the 5th inning, I will quickly share Tony's quote for those who missed it. He was asked about Dean's error and where he's at from a confidence standpoint with Dean defensively. How do you handle some of the issues he's had at this point in the year? Tony said, I'm plenty good with it. Ride or die for anything on or off the field for that guy. Obviously, I owe a lot. You can talk about wallet. You can talk about all kinds of other stuff. He's done a really good job for us adjusting at second like Fisher has done at first. Like, hey, just tell me where to play and I'll do it. Gavin Keelan has been similar as well. I think where he's really shown well there is range side to side. That was a play that was kind of a tricky one as far as the hop you get, and I think because of the way he fielded it, he thought he needed to get rid of it right away, and we had fish playing deep. It was an odd play. Should it happen? No. But again, these dudes will make mistakes, and if I'm not mistaken, to use that word too much, he had a pretty big knock for us late in the game too. When you do mess up, whether it's him or anybody else, you can't pout. You can't wear it on your sleeve. If anything, you relax and just play, or maybe it adds to the determination you've got. So I'm looking at these names on here, and Stone Lawless could have ended the game. I'm good with that guy until Kingdom Come. Same with the rest of these games on the list. I was happy Marcus got to take the ball for us today too. So, and did you see my mentions yesterday when I tweeted what Tony said?
Let me go check him out. Let me go check him out.
Don't read the. Well, you can read the one. I tweeted two of them. The one was a story that I wrote on what Tony said, but then I tweeted what he said during the post-game press conference, and that one lit up like the 4th of July, and it's just it was not the response that Tennessee fans wanted from. Scroll past the Yankees walk-off win with the Martian.
All right, Dean Curley, Votella on Dean Curley's era in the 5th inning against Alabama. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, ain't that many?
Well, I think the point is, like, there was one that just Vol fans just were not pleased with the response whatsoever. It's got 47 replies, 36 retweets, 79,000 impressions, and the mentions are just killing Dean.
Okay, I see this one.
They were not pleased with Tony's thoughts on the matter.
What?
But, like, did you take issue with? Is that what you wanted to hear from Tony, or?
Here's
to be
one.
honest,
Here's one. It means he's not serious about winning this year. What?
I liked Tony's quotes. I know they.
I like his quotes too. I'm just sitting here looking at what folks are saying here.
You would think Dean Curley is public enemy number one for Tennessee baseball fans. Not all. I don't want to lump everybody in. And I'm not suggesting that they should not be frustrated either. That was a bad play yesterday. I agree that Dean Curley should not be in the infield right now. If I'm Tony, I'm DHing him. You can't continue to put him in the infield at this point because A, it is hurting the team. B, you've reached the point now to where you're hurting Dean as well, I feel like. Now, they obviously know Dean better than I do, and they see how he's handling his business on a day-to-day basis in a much different way than I do. But I feel like we've reached the point now to where not only are you failing the team by putting him in that position, you're starting to fail Dean as well by continuing to put himself in that position. But just simply for the fact that it's costing the team and has numerous times this season, you've got to transition him to the DH role and move, in my opinion, because Levi Clark has to be in the lineup. There's no bones about that. Levi Clark has to be in the lineup. The problem is Cannon Peebles is your catcher. Andrew Fisher is your first baseman. So you're going to have to get a little quirky. And defense, we're talking about a defensive issue. This is not a great defensive lineup, but I think you slide Manny Marin over to second. He's a natural middle infielder anyways, more than likely. You bring Bargo back in from left to third, and you put Levi Clark in left. That's what I would do if I were in charge of the decisions, but I am not, and I would have Dean at DH. Like, he doesn't need to be in the field right now, but I don't understand what fans maybe fans wanted Tony to go the the route that he went with Marcus Phillips after the Vanderbilt game, in which he kind of called him to the carpet publicly. But I don't – what good would that do when it's very clearly a confidence issue for Dean? What good would it do to go the Marcus Phillips route in his post-game press conference? You need to instill confidence in him.
I think two situations are different. Marcus Phillips has been repeatedly told, this is an issue for us. We got to do a better job of holding runners and not allowing them to steal. And you can do that without losing confidence. Like, that's just following a command. And he did not do it. And this was after repeatedly being told to do it. Whereas Dean Curley is doing what he's told, but he's just making errors because he's in a slump. It's in his head. And so I think the two situations are different. The responses should come after you see Dean Curley out there today. But to expect Tony Vitello to throw his guy under the bus, which he doesn't do that. There has been stuff that has went on inside the program last couple of years that no one really knows about. And I've seen Tony Vitello publicly back a guy that was acting a damn fool behind the scenes. But that's what you have to do as a head coach. And no one pumps confidence more in their players in any sport probably at this level than Tony Vitello. Like, his guys believe because he makes them believe. And so you can back him publicly and do what you just said, Ben. Do what's best for him, which is move him out of the infield, allow him to DH because he's still coming to the plate and bringing in runs. He's still knocking the ball. You can do those things if you're Tony. But to expect him to throw his dude under the bus and these replies like, oh, he don't care about winning. Okay, well, if he throws him back out there in the same position, then, okay, these comments maybe make sense and will be fair. But to make these comments expecting Tony to say something different, it's like, were you just born today as a sports fan? You don't understand how this stuff works? That's my thing.
I have the same opinion. And again, Tennessee fans have the right to be frustrated with Dean Curley. I'm not suggesting otherwise. The only thing that I am suggesting is that some of the comments are a bit over the top, both in terms of the criticism of Dean Curley and also, and when I say over the top criticism, I'm talking about just like crossing the line with how you are wording, cussing him and things like that. Like at the end of the day, this is a young man who was the starting shortstop on your national championship winning team as a true freshman. And it's not like he hit 220, was hitting ninth, hit 3 home runs, and was just in there because they didn't have a better option. He made a lot of winning plays as a freshman to help Tennessee. He may not have been the lead guy, the leading catalyst, the face of the team, but he made a lot of winning plays to help Tennessee win a national championship.
Yeah.
And
facts.
That builds up a lot of leash and leeway. It should. It's so disappointing. I think that our society just so quickly switches up on people. You loved him last year when he was helping you win a national championship. Now you can't stand the sight of him. And he's actually been swinging the bat pretty well the last couple of weeks, which is why you can't bench him. And I think the other reason, like, I would DH him today. I would not be surprised if he's back at second because he's been swinging the bat well. The alternate of putting Levi Clark in this big, you-know-what left field in Hoover, when left field is not natural for a catcher and a first baseman, that's not an ideal defensive lineup either. And again, Dean needs to be better at second, but it hasn't been as bad up until that play yesterday at second as it was on the left side of the infield early in the season. I hope that came across the way I wanted it to. Not saying that he's been good at second or anything, but before that play yesterday, it hadn't been atrocious. There had been a couple of plays, a couple of throws that needed to be better, needed to be made, but he looked better at second base than he did the left side of the infield earlier this season. So I think that's also kind of what played into Tony's comments, is that it hasn't been bad at second prior to that play yesterday, and he's been swinging the bat better of late. You need him to be a piece to the puzzle, and you don't have a great alternate to go to because Levi Clark is not a natural out in left field as a catcher and a first baseman, and he has to be in the lineup. You have to put Dean at second in order to keep Levi at DH if it boils down to it, quite frankly. So I don't think it's just as simple as some want it to be. Something has to change. I acknowledge that, but like, Dean needs confidence. He's lacking confidence, and I hope that he's staying off of social media, because Lord knows his own people are not helping him.
Because you're gonna find it there.
From his own people. But that's also like, what good would Tony do coming out and saying, yeah, I'm benching him tomorrow. Well, let's see what Tony does with the lineup today. But I said, I also wouldn't be surprised if Tony keeps him at second, because like it's not. I don't think it's as easy of a decision to move him off of second because of how it affects other things the way that some people want it to be.
There's always a line, though. There's a line, and I don't care about NIL. Like, there's a line. If you see effort being put forth, and you see that they're giving their all doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect and that you're always going to make the winning play. Giving your all just means mentally, emotionally, physically, like you're giving all that you can. But again, that doesn't mean that the play is going to be successful. And that goes for any sport. You would hope that your own doesn't tear you down like opposing fans do. Like, you shouldn't be able to look at a tweet and say, man, I don't know who this is from. One of us or one of them. If you're doing that, that means the tweet's out of line. It's crossed the line. Because you understand getting it from them, the other side, but from your own, it shouldn't be like that. But again, like, it's always a line. Like, okay, you want to criticize the play. Hey, man, didn't make the right play. She didn't make the right play. But keep it there. There's no reason to go overboard with this stuff. And I don't care if people making money or not. At the end of the day, man, just be a human. Just be a human being. And I would say treat people the way you want to be treated, but some folks don't even care how they treat it. So can't you say that? 865-255-03. Hoping for the best for Dean Curley, man. I met him last year when he was a freshman. Did the locker room. He did an awesome job. Man, loves it here. From California, things fell in place for him. He was gonna go to another school. The coach got fired. I think it was USC, and then things fell in place for him to come here, and it's worked out perfectly for him, except for the adversity he's going through right now. But man, he's gonna bounce back. He'll bounce back. There's no way you can have the success that you had as a freshman and not have the mental toughness to be able to recover from this. He's
got the yips.
Yeah,
he's got the yips right now, and that's a confidence issue. And he needs to be the DH in my opinion. I don't know that that's going to happen.
What about Abernathy? Because Jennifer Morris says, you know how she feels about Abernathy, who was a great shortstop coming out of high school, can get on base, can steal. Why don't you think we see him in that position? Because he doesn't hit it like Dean.
Is Jennifer wanting Jay to? What is Jennifer doing with Dean? Is Jennifer putting Dean on the bench completely, or is she putting him in the DH spot? That's I need to know that answer before I give my answer. I guess I can give both. If Dean needs to be in the lineup, he's been swinging the bat well the last couple of weeks. His bat needs to be in the lineup. So I am not with benching him. I'm with getting him out of the field, but I'm not with benching him. And so if you were to keep Dean in the lineup, like I think that they should, then Jay Abernathy, if you put him at second and Dean at DH, where's Levi Clark? And if you put Dean at DH and you slide Manny over to second and you put Bargo at third and you put Jay Abernathy in left, where's Levi Clark? Levi Clark and Dean Curley's bat, both of their bats need to be in the lineup. And I think you have that staple that has to be a thing. Levi, Dean in the hitting lineup, and then you go from there. And I think the best way to go from there is Manny at second, Bargo at third, Levi in left. I love Jay Abernathy. I want to see more of Jay Abernathy, but Jay Abernathy playing means that no Levi Clark, and it means that no Dean Curley bat. And Dean Curley has been swinging the bat well the last couple of weeks, and he needs to be in the lineup.
Yeah, you ain't with that. All right, get to the phones. 865-255-03, Guards the Law Hotline. Good morning.
Hey, it's Double Dipping Turkey Man fast. Hey, guys, I was just going to point out that what Ben said earlier, they're playing a big field, and you have to have speed and experience, as we seen yesterday. Have 22 hits or 20 hits that Tennessee had, and a lot of that because it's in gaps and was able to move them around because they couldn't get to it quick enough. Also, that's publicity against a kid from California. We're getting a lot of unfair publicity to start with. We don't need to add to it because we've had some good recruits and all of our sports come out of California. So we don't need more negativity sent our direction. I'll get out. Listen, guys. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Turkey Man. Yeah, you're supposed to treat your own better than the opponent. That's how I look at it. It's no different than when you have a quarterback that's not playing well. I mean, it's the same conversations we've had. Like, just treat your own good.
Especially one that has had success and brought you a lot of happiness.
Yeah, that's how I kind of look at it.
And there's nothing I want to emphasize. There's nothing wrong with criticizing.
Yeah.
Dean. He deserves to be criticized. I have said 1,000 times at this point that I would pull him out of the field at this point.
It's just a line.
So, like, I am right there with the people that are frustrated and they're thinking, but there's a way to do it. That's kind of what I think Swain and I are trying to convey is that it's okay to criticize, but there's a way to do it, and you don't have to cross a line to do it because you're emotional that your team lost.
Oh, you see, DC has the yips. Tony's trying to let him play through it as he should. However, DC needs to be put in a spot where he can work through his issues, but not hurt the team in the process. Rodney and Austell, can Dean Curley play left?
He can, but then I don't know where Levi Clark is going to be because Levi's not playing first.
Yeah, he been really hitting the ball.
Yes. I would be fine with Dean in left, but you'd have to get creative on the infield. Once again, I think if that were an option, and I don't think that it is, but if it were, then I think what you would do is Dean in left, Manny at second, Fisher. No, you just put Bargo in because I'm trying to find a way to put Levi in the lineup, and there's just no way to get Levi, Bargo, and Curley all in the lineup at the same time, and you have to have them in the lineup all at the same time. So I'd be fine with Dean and left, but Dean and left means that Bargo's going to third, Manny's going to second. Maybe you take Marin out, but if you take Manny out, then you don't have a natural second baseman. Because I don't. Bargo, Fisher don't need to play second base. Levi's not playing second base, so you don't have a second baseman in that scenario. If you take Manny out, so Manny has to be in, and Manny swung the bat well yesterday and looked pretty decent at Arkansas as well. I want Manny in there. So I think the solution is Manny at second, Bargo at third, Levi in left, Dean the DH. And I also don't want to move Fisher off of first. Fisher's been a really good first baseman for Tennessee this year.
All right, man, we'll see what happens today. And we'll see if any changes are made to the infield. And Dean Curley is able to continue to provide the bat, but protect it from hurting the team with infield errors. Tennessee's in position to get a dub today. 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. If you pay attention, maybe we'll get the chance to see Ben on TV. Well, we already saw him on TV, right here on Swain Event TV.
I don't know if you want that. I'll be too busy hanging out with my good friend Chris Burke.
Oh yeah, and Kendall Rogers, your good friend.
I don't. Kendall's at a different tournament. He's not. D1 Baseball sent
somebody else.
2 others. So
gotcha.
I have not seen Kendall.
Well, we'll see.
He's too busy figuring out how he's going to get Tennessee to host.
That's right. That's right. I love it. Put that work in, Kendall. Honorary VFL. Tuesday, Swain Event. We'll do it again. Ben, have a good weekend. Have a good trip on your way back. And appreciate you today. Appreciate all of our listeners. Swain Event will be available on demand thanks to Betty Chevrolet, wherever you get your podcast. For Ben McKee of GoVols 247, I'm Jason Swain. Peace and much love. We are out. Have a great weekend.